Welcome to Season 2, Episode 23 of the Bulls REKAP Podcast. I'm Joe Cowley of the Chicago Sun-Times. You can obviously follow me at the Sun-Times, suntimes.com. You can follow me on Twitter, X, whatever you want to call it, at jcowleyhoops. Kind of been a mellow follow lately. 10-game losing streak will do that to a man. But one thing I've had the opportunity to do is have a front row seat on the whoop the ass of your former team tour that's been going on. We had Vooch in Boston beat the Bulls after they traded him. We had Kevin Huerter in Detroit come here, beat the Bulls. Obviously, Huerter didn't play that game, but he will be a piece for them later on. That's what they're saying. And then the other day, we got to catch up with Coby White, and that was good because we didn't get a chance to talk to Coby White. Got to cover him for 6-7 years, whatever it was, whatever his stay was here. Built a good relationship with him after some rough patches with him. And one of the things I wanted to talk to him about was, I had reported since the summer that the Bulls and Coby, who was a free agent to be at the time or headed to be free agency after this season, the talks were amicable. And he reiterated that and kind of verified my reporting throughout that. And here's Coby talking about that.
You were drafted by this team. You kind of did everything right. Do you feel, is there any kind of disappointment in, they kind of wanted to date me and never marry me? I mean, is there that kind of feeling where, you had a chance to commit and they didn't? Did it come close this year? Was there any talks that you felt like maybe this is going to happen and I'm going to stay here?
Yeah. Throughout my, yeah. But, things changed. The way the season was going, wasn't really stacking enough wins consistently. So, like I always said from the jump, they're going to do, I support whatever they think is best for the team. I just want, like I said, this organization believed in me. They gave me a chance, an opportunity to live on my dreams. So I just want to see, the organization succeed.
Yeah, and so, that was interesting to hear because I think things do change, and they changed quickly for the direction of this team, which shows me that their plan was no plan. Beginning of the year, they were talking throughout the early part of the season. They were talking, obviously Coby had the calf injury, and it kind of reminds everyone that this front office is just kind of blowing in the wind and going along as the season goes along. That's not a good plan. You should have, if this thing goes this way, we have A and B. If it goes this way, we have A and B. It seems like they're just, what should we do now? But it was good catching up with Coby White because I think he is the one thing, and Kevin Huerter pointed this out when both Casey Johnson and I spoke to him. The Bulls did right by a lot of guys when they traded him. And I even said to Coby later on in that interview, hey, it could be worse. They could have sent you to Sacramento. And he's like, come on, man. But he knows what I was saying. They sent him home to an up-and-coming team. Kevin Huerter got sent to the number 1 team in the East. Vooch got sent to the number 2 team in the East. Ayo got sent to a top team in Minnesota that, when the smoke clears on the West, could be a 3 or 4 seed and have home field advantage and home court advantage in the first round. Who knows? And so they took care of their guys. Obviously, playoff contending teams are the ones that are going to be aggressive and look to add pieces, so that kind of helps the process. But, they could have been like, hey, we'll just send you wherever. And it seemed like they did their due diligence to do right by these guys, and that was good to see. And Coby talked about that. And the one thing I thought he brought up that resonated was his relationship with Billy Donovan. Billy's getting killed in the city right now. I wrote a column a couple weeks ago. The criticism of Billy Donovan is kind of unfair. If you give him an elite player and then I see him messing up that guy or not doing anything with that guy, then we can talk. But give him a top 20 player. Give him a top 50 player. Do they even have a top 50 player right now? You could debate that and argue that. I don't want to hear about Josh Giddey right now as a top 50 player. Beginning of the year, first 6 weeks, he was putting up stats. This is a guy that is playing with a bunch of strangers around him. And is playing with, it looks like a bum will still because he is not exploding. He is not doing what he did beginning of the year. Doesn't look like a top 50 player right now. So I don't want to hear about that. Modas is not there yet. Don't want to hear about that. Give Billy a top 50 player and then reach out to me and say, your boy's a bum. Because right now you can't do that. It's just not happening. So what Coby said is if Billy Donovan was not as hard on me as he was, and Billy's got respect. a lot of people just think of Billy Donovan, the coach. Billy Donovan back in the day at Providence, he was a dog. That Providence team had no business competing in the Big East against Patrick Ewing and Chris Mullen and guys like that. And Billy was front and center at taking that Providence team and making it a Final Four team. Go back and Google that crap if you don't understand what I'm saying. So Billy understands winning. He understands what he wants from his point guard. It's kind of like an offensive coordinator quarterback situation. And he was hard on Coby. And Coby was jerked around a lot. Starter, not a starter. Point guard, now two guard. And it tested him, and it battle tested him. And that's one thing Coby said, looking back on it, I wouldn't change anything, the relationship I had with Billy. And what he even said is the basketball part of that relationship is great, but our relationship off the court is lifetime. And so for a guy that hasn't gone deep into any kind of playoff run or hasn't had NBA success to feel that way about his coach and not scapegoat his coach tells you about the relationship Billy has with his players. And you can't discount that in the NBA because once your players turn on the ship, the captain gets killed. That's it. And the ship crashes. That's it. This is a fragile thing. So it was good to hear him talk about that and his love for Billy Donovan. And that's a mutual thing. And the other thing too, that Charlotte team, I've watched this entire rookie class and been enamored by this rookie class. And people could sit there and say that I'm jumping on the crazy horse right now. Go back and watch some of these old pods from the summer, even late last year when I was breaking down this 25 draft class. Obviously, Cooper Flagg, I can't say enough about him. I think he is the future face of the league. But a guy that's right behind him, who I just thought was cold-blooded, Con Knipple is just one cold-blooded dude. And Coby talked about him. He's like, it's to the point now when he shoots, it feels like when Zach was on fire. That's what Coby said. When Zach LaVine was just on one, and we all know what that's like. When Zach was on one, it didn't matter. Good shot, bad shot. He would just ride that wave. He said, I haven't played with a guy like that since Zach. But Con Knipple does a lot more than Zach, too. He passes, sees the floor, high IQ. He's turned LaMelo Ball into an adult. LaMelo Ball still does his dumb LaMelo Ball stuff, but watching him the other night in that blowout against the Bulls, you're seeing a guy that now understands I've got adults around me, so my street stuff, my bullshit's got to stop. And so he's playing legit NBA point guard basketball. And so he still had a couple crazy passes, a couple crazy threes with the follow through where he turns to the crowd and he goes off the rim. And he's still going to do LaMelo Ball things. I could live with that. But now he's held accountable. Brandon Miller, he's coming. Bridges, Coby, and then Con Knipple. I mean, this team, and they got some depth, and they're going to be fun. Charlotte, it's amazing what happens when MJ finally got out of the scene and you got people in there that know what they're doing. I saw that they used their front office used an AI draft platform and ran all kind of scenarios. They kind of knew that they wanted Con, but they used it as a backup plan. And use this big AI platform that they devised for the draft. And it kept spitting out Con Knipple, and just kind of reiterating just what he was. And so they followed that. And I sent out a tweet the other day about the AI platform that Arturis uses. It's a hamster on a wheel. One hamster fell off and got hung up, and I think could have died. I'm not sure, but it was a fun little GIF I sent out. But kudos to Charlotte. Kudos to them adding Coby White. And the nice thing is, he said their front office hasn't talked to him about a contract extension yet. Obviously, free agency starts for him July. But they've mentioned on podcasts that they want to keep him a Hornet. And as he said, I want to stay a Hornet. So this is not a guy that's looking to move around and chase the dragon. I think he understands that this thing is up and coming, and it's time to, at his point in his career, it's time to go front and center on something that feels like it's about to start winning. Are they the next Detroit and can take that jump from maybe play-in to kind of kicked out of the tournament early to next year being, a top 4 team? That's a big if, but we'll see. Another draft class is coming. So, but it was fun to watch Coby come in. Nice tribute. Kudos to the Bulls. They're very good at tributes. Although Tibbs didn't get one, but that's a discussion for another day. But Look, Coby White's a dude. I don't think, there's a relationship side to this that people don't get to see, and not that I need boo-hoo, but that old Bulls locker room, and I mean old before February 5th, before the purge, was probably the best locker room I covered. And I know I said this early in the year when they started off hot, and that's why I kind of bought in. Because those dudes all loved each other. And I will say this, they were very respectful to media. And it was good to see Io in his goodbye post. He thanked the media. A lot of guys don't do that. I hadn't felt like that they recognized what we did and respected what we did going back probably the 2005 White Sox World Series team. Ozzie demanded they respected what we did, but Ozzie Guillen and that roster, they made you feel like, we know you're not a part of this, but you are a part of it in a way, and that you're covering us, and we respect the job you do, and you respect us. So, that locker room was fantastic. This new locker room, it's almost, you got Josh Giddey, you got Modas, who we'll talk about in a second. I like Rob Dillingham, good talker, good kid. But after that, don't get attached to much. So, I mean, and that's the one thing, when you have a locker room that, you have guys that you built a relationship with, it's tough to see those guys go. And that's why it's hard to get comfortable with this new locker room. I mean, they got Josh, they got Modas, and then Patrick Williams. After that, don't get real comfortable with a lot of these guys, because you don't know who's going to be here, what the purge this offseason is going to be like. So that's kind of the mentality, which sucks, because, you got 23, 24 games left, and it's just you're covering guys who are just, passing by, it feels like. So, but speaking of Modas, let me go down his list of his last 10 games or so. 2, 22, 18, 21, 18, 15, 4, 15, 15. Finally, against Charlotte, 32. He and Billy Donovan had a heart-to-heart the other night. Modas came in at like 8 o'clock at night to get shots up. He is a hard worker. And, of course, Billy's in there breaking down film. And those two had a heart-to-heart to figure out how they fix this, as Billy puts it, with Modas. Look, the Modas train is not off the tracks. The hype has died down a little bit, though. I will say that. I was all in on hype Modas. I thought the jump was going to be boom. It's not. This is not a linear thing. There are going to be waves in this. What's going on is he has to help himself. And that was the talk of, I'm not taking your mid-range game away, just you're not Dirk Nowitzki. You can't do this fadeaway off one leg mid-range that you got away with in high school and you got away with in G League Ignite, which was a crappy product and taught him some bad habits. Use your dribble to use thrust and get guys to back off you. Then you can pull the mid-range. Keep shooting the three and attack the rim. That was the genesis of that talk. And sure enough, Modas goes out. He does have 2 mid-range, goes 1 or 2 from the mid-range, but Billy liked both of the mid-range, attacked the rim, and I think he had 6 threes of his 32 points, 6 were threes. That's what the shot profile should look like. He should be, I'm not saying he's a 32-point scorer a night. He should be 20 to 23 a night with 7 to 9 rebounds, because that shows aggressiveness. He had a 6-block game against, I think it was against Detroit. That's crazy. That's not going to happen. But he should be a 2-block guy a night. That's where they need to get him. That is what this season is about for him. Understanding shot profile, understanding what Billy Donovan wants from him. We asked Modas about the talk. He's like, yeah, I mean, that was the heart of the talk. He didn't want to go into details about it. It wasn't like a chew out session. It was kind of a come to Jesus from Billy Donovan saying, dude, if you want to take this leap, your ball handling is good enough where, especially if you get the right matchup, kind of a clumsy 4, we switch you and you get a 5, or it's a smaller 3, use your ball handling. He obviously needs to add some strength. And there was one point that Billy made that I thought was great. If you're going to be a live in the mid-range guy, you got to be a strong SOB. You got to be DeMar DeRozan strong or a freak like Kawhi Leonard, who's just strong, or just freakishly tall like Durant, who come playoff time, Kawhi and Durant are just masters of the mid-range. And then, Bulls fans, we all got to see what DeMar DeRozan was when it came to mid-range. That's not Modas's build right now. He's not there physically. What he is he is quick for 6'9", 6'10", with shoes on. He's got really good ball skills for a guy his size. He still needs to improve that. But he could shake you, he could wiggle you, but he could get you on the back of your heels. Both of those mid-range, one was a step back after he felt like he got the guy on his heels, and the other one was just kind of a flat-out mid-range. But they were both good shots. They're not banning Modas from mid-range, because come playoff time, sometimes the mid-range is the best shot you're going to get. Teams are going to crowd you for the three, or they're going to sink at the rim for you driving. The mid-range, pull-up mid-range might be the best shot you get in a key moment in a playoff series. So you can't just say, I don't want that in my bag. You need it in your bag. You just got to take good ones. And that was the point of that talk. And it was good to see Modas get spoken to, get coached, and then go out, take what he was just told, and put that from paper to pad to on the court. That's not easy to do for a second-year guy. So kudos to him. Now, can he keep that up? The Bulls' schedule is not an easy one. I think as of last week, it was the fourth toughest. It's probably softened up a bit with the last three teams they played: Boston, Detroit, New York, and then Charlotte, all potential, playoff teams. So I'm sure it dropped a little bit. They got two with the Wizards. They do got some bum-ass teams coming up. So that is huge that Modas took that and made it happen in a game. Now keep it up. Got to keep it up, because this is not about winning games, which bothers Modas. He wants to win games. Josh Giddey, it was as angry as I've seen him after the Charlotte loss. Embarrassing third quarter. I've not seen Josh Giddey that pissed about his performance and the team's performance since he became a Bull. So he cares about winning. These dudes care about winning. They just don't have the horses. That roster purge was built to take away their ability to win games. I'm not saying embrace that, but that's your reality. So forget winning games. Go out there and be a winning player. Make winning plays. Play close basketball games, but continue to sink in that freaking standings, boys. Get as many lottery balls as you can get. That's the goal of this thing right now. Modas, keep developing, and the reality of losing, you just got to embrace it, embrace the suck. So kudos to him for taking coach speak and putting it on the court. So love that. That was key. Charlotte Day brought back some good memories with Coby, and then obviously some future good feelings with what Modas did. So, and they lost. Perfect. Thank you very much. That's what that is. So, all right, let's go to Cowley Island. I've been all in on Darryn Peterson as the number one pick. I don't know now. Forget the Coby comparisons that were at the beginning of the year. The sad thing is, as a high school senior last year, he played Boozer and he played A.J. DeBonce's team and whooped both their asses. And that had a lot of people saying he's a combo guard, he could handle, he could shoot, he could do it all. He's kind of the next Coby. This is not Mamba mentality that we're seeing right now this year from Kansas. He is just kind of a koala mentality. Sometimes I play, sometimes I don't. If the Bulls get the number one pick, that might not be ideal. It's almost better to have number two and say to that first team, do you want him? Is he a headache? Is he a guy who's going to embrace load management, play when he wants to play? What is this camp telling him? There's so many unknowns. Bill Self has no control over this guy. Right now, Darryn Peterson is the boss. He is the coach. Peterson is just the, okay, do what you want. I know Dick Vitale sent out a tweet, maybe they should just remove him from the team. You can't. The talent is too much. He could all of a sudden say, all right, now it's ball time in March, and go on a run and take Kansas to the Final Four. The problem is when a guy is that guy, that's hard to say and translate and say, well, now he's not going to be that guy. And that's just a tough thing to say. Oh, he was just doing that in college because he's getting paid. He's got his NIL money. So he ain't chasing money. What are you chasing, dude? I don't know. I mean, it's frightening. He's had some first halves where you're like, oh, my God, this guy is just ridiculously talented. And then all of a sudden he's tapping out of games and telling Bill Self, hey, I'm your daddy. You're going to sit me now? I don't know. Are the Bulls better off just saying, hey, if we get a top 1, top 2 pick, let's just go with the safe guy, whether it's A.J. DeBonsa, who I love because he's a two-way player, or do we go with Boozer, who I also love because – I see what he's doing, his in-out game, big moments against a really good Michigan team, but also he's a true 4, and now you can move Modas to the 3. I don't know. Is Darryn Peterson going to allow Billy Donovan to coach him hard? I don't know. You're scaring me, bro. You're getting bad advice. Fix it. You got a month to fix it, and it's coming up. Fix it. All right, let's go to the list. So at time of taping, we got 23 games left in this Bulls season. There's only 5 Bulls players I care about right now. Like, I'm really going to be watching and really care about. Obviously, we know how it's going to end because I just spent minutes and talking about this guy. But number 5, Patrick Williams. I know he's not a fan favorite right now. Still got money coming his way. You still got to try getting something out of him. You don't have a choice. You're not going to move him. You're not going to stretch and waive him. You're not going to be able to, just cut him. So, Patrick, decent game against Charlotte. Hit some nice threes. Just please continue moving forward in some capacity. Give me a pulse. Number 4, Josh Giddey. I don't care if Josh plays the rest of the year because of the tweaked hammy, but he's still important. When he plays, it's got to be better than it's looked. And obviously, I know he's on a bad wheel. But number 3, Jaden Ivey. We got an update on him. They are working on strengthening the leg. He is in the program. Does he come back this year? I don't know. But when he comes back, please show some kind of explosiveness. Bro, you're moving like I am, and I'm almost 58. Don't do that. Please show some explosiveness. Doesn't have to be what you were out of Purdue in your first couple of years in Detroit. Maybe it gets there, but show something and give us to get some of the concerns away because there's concerns right now. Number 2, Danger Rob Dillingham. I don't know. He does things that drive you crazy and drive Billy Donovan crazy, but then he makes some plays where you're like, whoa, okay. He's a dude. He's got some wiggle. Just got to see more, get his confidence back. Feel good about him and take him to the offseason. Is he a starter? Probably not, but he could be a key rotation guy for you moving forward. And then obviously Modas. We've talked about him. Coachable, showed that. Keep rising, young man. It doesn't have to be 32 points a night, but please just show me that you are growing in this thing and can be that dude because this team, God, they need dudes. After watching the last week, Cade Cunningham and Brunson and then with Knipple and those cats from Charlotte, you almost turn to the guy next to you. I think someone actually did on press row and go, why can't we have that? Why can't we have a kind of Knipple to be excited about? Because we don't. Modas, you can be that guy. Keep stepping up. So that's it. Next week, off to the West Coast. Big trip. I think it's 10 days. That's a big suitcase for the kid. Maybe the PS5. We'll see. But until then, I got next.